This is Iris Lloyd, president of CUPE New Brunswick, and you are listening to CUPE Talks in the Maritimes with Nick and Chris.
Do you have any takeaways that you're going to be taking from the courses that you've learned so far?
Yes. So I've done a lot of the single day training courses through CUPE already. And one of the most valuable things is speaking and discussing events and experiences with the other participants.
And I would love to see more members get involved with anything, whether it's start out on a small committee. We want to see,
Can you tell us a little bit about what you've learned here this week?
It's a great learning experience, and as long as I've been around and involved, I'm still learning.
I am Nicholas London, co-host of CUPE Talk in the Maritimes.
I'm Chris Watson, president of the New Brunswick Federation of Labour and co-host of CUPE Talk in the Maritimes.
Hi, my name is Brian Watson, former president of CUPE New Brunswick and now the producer of CUPE Talk in the Maritimes and across Canada.
Wes Wills, Local 380 Vice President.
Hey, this is Justin Spooner, Region DVP and First Vice President of CUPE 1253.
I'm Shelby Dodge, President of Local 3226.
Karen Tier, President of the New Brunswick Council of Nursing Home Unions.
I'm Jamie Agnew, and I'm the President of CUPE Local 963, representing New Brunswick Liquor Store, retail, and warehouse workers.
I'm Sherry Hillier, President of CUPE Newfoundland and Labrador, and General Vice President for the Atlantic Maritimes.
I'm Cheryl Ann Keown, and I'm the Healthcare Council President, PEI, and I also sit on Local 805.
Quay, hello. This is Kathy Johnson, President of CUPE 5446.
Hi, my name is Dorinda Smith. I'm from Local 813.
I'm Teresa McAllister, Provincial President of CUPE 2745 Educational Support Staff.
Bonjour, ici Alain Soucy, membre du SCFP, Syndicat canadien de la fonction publique.
Hey everyone, this is Candace Rennick, CUPE's National Secretary Treasurer, and you're listening to CUPE Talk in the Maritimes.
Hey, this is Mark Hancock, CUPE National President, and you're listening to CUPE Talk in the Maritimes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of CUPE Talk in the Maritimes. Y'all know me. I am Nick, the co-host of the show, but also joined alongside my brother, the Federation of Labor President, Chris Watson. Chris, welcome to our show.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate the large welcome.
You deserved it. We're very happy to have everyone join us here today. We're going to be very serious because this is a lot of serious topics on hand today. Of course, I think right out of the chute, the first thing that Chris and I need to do is we had somewhat of a busy week.
Yeah, no, we did have a busy week up in the province's capital.
Yes, it was absolutely beautiful. It's a great place for some AGMs. Obviously, you and I have been to a few. You've been to a whole lot more. But CUPE 5446 had you and I there this past week.
Yeah, no, it was a nice place to be. There was a lot of new activists in the room, some new delegates, and some of them who've been around for a little bit. I say a little bit, but it was only their 6th AGM. So, it's still fairly new for them and for everybody as well. But awesome week. Lots of good discussions, and I think they're really in good hands moving forward into the future.
You know what? Being there, seeing and reading the room, the atmosphere, overwhelming. I would say it was an all-around huge success. Of course, we got to talk with Pat Roy. We got to talk with Stacey Delaney. We got to talk to Kathy Johnson. We had a great time, and the room was great. Everything was excellent. Of course, a lot went down with them this year, too.
Yeah, they had signed the new contract, so kudos to them for signing that contract, and just basically going through all the different things as a newer local.
They really hit the ground running. They have done a exceptional job, and just seeing their executives, their second VPs, how hard they all work, the time they're putting in, and the effort, it's pretty darn amazing.
Well, let me tell you, having gone through the preparation work for an AGM, there's a lot that goes on, and there's a lot of things behind the scene, a lot of moving, shaking parts. And as long as the membership doesn't see the stress, then, it goes off without a hitch. And You know, as a guest at the AGM, I didn't see any stress or anything like that. So for me, it was a very, very successful AGM.
And you know, we were really lucky because we got to sit down and chat a little bit with Pat Roy.
Yes. Yeah.
The acting education rep for CUPE here in the Maritimes. It was unbelievable. A wonderful person, so much knowledge. You know, and on top of that, we were even luckier because we got to sit and have our first conversation with the vice president of CUPE 5446, Hope Sear.
Ah, yes.
You did that.
I did do that.
And a fine job he did.
Yeah, no, it was nice. It's nice to be able to sit down with the different executive members from all the different locals and just kind of get their take on things and how they feel that their AGMs are going. And again, you know, even having the time to sit and talk with Pat, to talk about everything education. I know that the education workshops have been sent to all the different local executives. So, you know, we were able to pick his brain on some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil the interview, but awesome.
Let's roll that interview for the fine folks. And there's two of them, like I said, Pat Roy and then Hope Sear. So if our great old producer, Mr. Brian Watson, wants to roll that, that would be excellent. Okay.
Hi everyone, CUPE Talk in the Maritimes here. I'm Chris, alongside me with my co-host Nick. And we are joined alongside us today with a very special guest, Pat Roy. Pat, how are you today?
I'm great, and yourself?
We're doing really well. Pat is the education representative for New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island. And we just saw recently that the new fall calendar is coming out. Can you tell members a little bit about what to expect on this calendar?
Well, the calendar actually went out in July, but again, it's summer vacations. It's like by the time locals see it and that, so we put out a calendar with, I can't name you all the courses offhand right now, but they started back about a week ago, and we've got everything from leadership to shop steward to there's some financial officer training. There's a couple of not new courses, but courses that haven't been offered in the region in a while that we've added in, just to try to give a little variety.
Yeah, so as a member facilitator in the past, I can tell you that some of these courses I've had the pleasure of teaching, and they're very worthwhile courses. Some really good information to members, and I strongly encourage anyone, if you have the opportunity to attend any of these courses, please take advantage of this. I know there's also been a call out for looking for member facilitators as well. How can members apply for to be a member facilitator?
Well, right now, unfortunately, the deadline is passed for that. We're in the process now of starting to screen out but actually look at the resumes we receive, and then members will get calls for interviews that are selected. So that, unfortunately, it's too late for this year, but probably in another year or two will be another member facilitator training that's coming up. But again, if anybody out there is interested in courses, just because a course isn't offered, if you can get some people in your area to take a course, so usually we look at about a minimum of 6, ideally closer to 10, but if there's 10 people in your region that want a course, if you approach your servicing rep and let them know, they'll reach out to me, and for that amount of members, we'll schedule the course, so something that's not on the agenda. So,
Okay, Pat, so then explain to the members how important these opportunities are, whether it is becoming a facilitator or just getting involved and going to your local and saying, like, I want the education. How would you explain to people the importance of taking up these opportunities from CUPE for all this education?
yeah, no, I mean, any opportunity you can get to take education, there's many factors. First of all, there's the knowledge that you receive while taking the course. Number 2 is the connections you're going to make with other people from maybe your local, from a different part of the province, or from other locals, or even different sectors. So sometimes we think the problems only exist in our workplace, and then, say, for example, a nursing home worker might go to an education, and he hears that a municipal worker is dealing with the same similar issue that they're dealing with, and they want to come up with a solution for it. So then that solution, they can bring it back to their workplace and possibly try it. So anytime you can get education, it's like I said, it's that knowledge, but it's also the opportunities to build connections, and you also become more comfortable with stuff like your collective agreement and some of the issues that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Pat. You know, that's one of the great things about CUPE education is, you know, you go in with a certain mindset coming out of your own sector, but connecting with other members from other sectors really puts it into perspective that, you know, the fight that you're having within your own local might be something that might be happening somewhere else. And, you know, they might go at it about a different way. So, you know, working together, coming up with strategies, that's one thing that CUPE education really thrives on. And that's why it's so important to attend these courses.
Yes, I agree absolutely with that point. I mean, the knowledge you receive and the experiences you're going to get from other people, our best knowledge is what's in the experiences of other people. And again, you got to remember, our CUPE membership all come from different backgrounds. So they have some, you know, might have been a social worker, some might have been like a LPN, some could have been like, you know, a carpenter or trades, or it could be like a housekeeper, or I should say environmental services, or a kitchen worker. So they all have different backgrounds, and they have different life experiences too, like from their own lives that they bring to these educations and give examples and give solutions, possible solutions to problems that we don't always think of.
Yeah, you're right. I know I've met some people in the past that have been really involved in the community, and they've talked about ways that they projected their messaging to try to combat issues. So yeah, no, so you're right. You know, like I said, everybody in the communities, it's such an important aspect to take away.
We appreciate you taking time to talk with us today. I'd love to do a very in-depth interview with you because I think it is a great thing that is put on for members, and it's not even just like it's once a month or just like for a season. It's 4 seasons that more often than not there's some sort of education out there for members to take. So I think we barely scratched the surface on the things we could talk about, and I'd love to sit down with you and have a full in-depth conversation one day.
Maybe one other thing I will talk about the calendar that's come out.
Yes, please.
So one of the changes this year, well, for this session that we're trying, is I have put in a couple online courses, which are open across Canada. So right now there's one on interpreting bylaws, or bylaws essentials, I think it's called. It's coming up on September 25th. I think we're already up to 18 or 20 people registered for it, and it's across Canada with people there. There's people from our region, but also Ontario, BC, Alberta, different provinces. Again, it's online. They're done in the evening for 3 hours. So for people that work Monday to Friday, these courses, you don't even need your local permission because there's no cost. There's no travel expenses, there's no meals. You're just sitting in your own house doing a Zoom call.
Is this something I can take too?
Any member can sign up for it. Because you don't need your local's permission because there's no expenses. Now, if you're looking to book time off for it, then you have to contact your local to get permission.
But what a great deal, though. Yeah. I mean, if you're home and you know, if you're serious about the labor movement as we are, then like what a great deal. You could be home and take this education. These lessons are really, they're essential.
They're a 3-hour module, so it'll be from 6 to 9 New Brunswick time. That's what we're running it for.
I love that. I will be there. I can tell you right now, I will be there. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Hi everyone, Chris here with CUPE Talk in the Maritimes, and I'm joined by Vice President Hope Sear for CUPE Local 5446, and we are at the 6th AGM here at the Fredericton Inn. Tell us, how do you feel the AGM's going? We're getting ready to wrap it all up here this afternoon, so how is the AGM going for you so far?
I find this year in particular, we're actually coming together more as a group. We're seeing more members come from different locations, which we haven't seen in the past. As being a member of Local 5446, we're actually a private nursing home. So we have buildings that are in St. John, Moncton, Miramichi, Fredericton. So to see all of us come together collectively, it's actually really nice. And we're getting a little bit more conversation on the floor, but we're working on that.
Now, how do you find that this is the 6th AGM? How do you find that this one compared with the very first one? How do you find the differences between them?
Well, our first one, we were just kind of winging it. We're definitely getting a little bit more structured. We're starting to invite in more affiliates to know like who we can go to if we need advice or things like that, which is actually really good. So you're actually one of those people for us, so it was nice to have you here today. As we continue to grow, we have big expectations, and hopefully we don't grow too fast and run into some other issues, but I think we're doing pretty good so far.
Yeah, no, I think the last couple of days has gone really well, and I was really thankful to be a part of it. There's been some great discussion in the room. Been very respectful, And I think that 5446 is going to be great. I just hearing, like I said, the things coming into the room, there's some big expectations, and I really feel that the Shannock's local is in good hands. And I can't wait to see what changes come on in the future. And obviously, as you know, like for the Federation of Labor and all the other organizations will be there to assist when needed. So, yeah, again, on behalf of CUPE Talk in the Maritimes, we just want to say thank you.
Finish this. What a beautiful interview that was. Both of those interviews were really good. You know, when you have an opportunity to sit and chat with somebody as educated as Pat is when it comes to education, and the way I would describe it is Pat is basically preparing future activists for big roles, you know, making sure that the labor movement is in good hands. It's certainly not a job I would take lightly. I really wouldn't.
No, and you know, when we talk about education, that's where you're going to learn how to, properly do your grievances, how to conduct your union meetings, how to conduct yourself in a meeting with management, how to do, your roles as recording secretaries, intros to CUPEs. Like the list goes on and on about the courses that are offered, and even as a participant, you learn so much, but as a facilitator, we learn a lot as well, because
yes,
and that's the way that the education is great, because everybody's kind of in together, right? You're not just having one within your own specific local, but like Pat said in the interview, if you can get a group of people together for a certain number, I forget, what the number, I think around 10 or so, but if you can get a certain number of people together, they'll put on a specific course if necessary for you, if it's not offered. So, take that into consideration, take a look at what courses are offered. And if you feel there's something out there of value, and you want to partner up either with another local or something like that, get in contact with them and see what they can do for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't say this enough, but don't be shy to go to your local and say that you want more education, or maybe you have never taken any education, but you've gotten to a point in your career where you want to go to your local and make that known, because education is the be all end all when it comes to the labor movement. You're learning, you're progressing, you're teaching that next generation, and it's priceless. It really is.
There's even a couple nighttime courses coming up, which is going to be online, which is going to encompass everybody from across Canada. So not only will you be getting perspectives like you would here in New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island, but you're going to get a broader perspective from all across Canada. So that's going to be very exciting. So I encourage anyone to jump on board and take advantage of that.
And if you don't know how, reach out to Chris or I. Honestly, I would not be offended. I'm going to be taking that course. It's free. Go take the course if you want, guys. 100%. You will love it. You'll be thankful that you did. And if it is your first course, it's a good start. And then you go from there. So I also want to give a shout out to Hope Sear. Appreciated her stepping out to do that interview with Chris. An amazing person. You can tell that with people like her and Kathy Johnson leading the charge, that entire 5446 is in good hands. And why are you looking at me like that?
Just looking at you, just seeing how excited you were. This was his first AGM, getting up to do some speaking. So did a real good job.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Yeah, you did.
I was really nervous, so not gonna lie. Okay, so again, thank you, 5446, for having us. Thank you for the invite, the hospitality, and you've made us feel really good about being there. And it was amazing. It really was. It was awesome. I loved it.
One of the things I felt really good coming out of that was there was a few people on the executive that never understood kind of what the Federation of Labor and things were as well. So now that, yes, they pay per capita, but, now they know how to utilize, how to get in contact with us for anything that they may need assistance with. So it was great to build those connections. And that's why it's important to attend the different functions of your affiliates when called upon.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Let's switch gears. I want to talk about CUPE PEI Local 830. Obviously, that has been ongoing. 50 days. 50 days. It is the most uncalled for thing ever. It is disgusting in every way. I spoke with Robbie Howard, the president, last night. We had about a 45-minute conversation, and he filled me in on a lot of things. And I'm going to tell you, I was mind blown by the whole thing. And the fact that these people are still out walking that picket line, energetic as hell, I may add, shows some very strong solidarity.
Running on passion.
Are they ever running on passion?
Right.
I cannot encourage people enough. Make the phone call over to the municipal government over in Charlottetown. Get your voices heard. Send emails. Hell, get a stamp and send it over there and put it in the mail. But you know what? That municipality has to answer to someone, and they're not answering to their own public. They're avoiding this whole thing, and it's disgraceful.
Worst part is the money being spent on the strike from the municipalities could have fixed the issue.
Yeah, 26,000.
Yeah, they've spent more than that on security and everything else. Yeah, the issue could have been resolved by now. And that's usually what happens when people go out on strike a lot of the time. Is the issue could have been fixed for the money that they're basically pissing out the window.
So Robbie brought up something to me, and I haven't even said this to you. So I'm interested to see your reaction. At the end of the day, if you wanted to actually sum up the amount of money that they would pay out, okay? You know what it equaled out to? One new truck for the city. One new truck. Is that not the most pathetic thing? One new vehicle, or take care of 30 people who take care of your city.
Yeah.
It made me sick. It made me sick to my stomach.
Oh, in case you're wondering what that was, we do have 3 dogs here, so I have a dog toy in my hand.
Is that what that is?
That's a dog. Yeah. So, but yeah, one new truck.
3.
The fact that it's 50 days, I mean, that's a lot, right? And the fact that they're still going strong is amazing.
And you know what? They will continue to go strong.
Absolutely.
Because I guarantee you that there is no bottom to this gas tank. There is no bottom. It will continue to thrive, and it will continue to fight because they are well aware of their rights, and they're well aware of bargaining in good faith. And if that government, if that municipal government cannot bargain in good faith, maybe they should all step out. And maybe someone new, they need to elect someone new that wants to see the city grow. Because I'm getting the feeling that they're not that interested in Charlottetown anymore.
That's right. Step up or step down.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I couldn't agree more. Brian, if you would, could we play the 8:30 video that Chris and I put up? It's a great video, guys. Pay close attention. We're going to run a commercial after that. When we come back, we're going to have a little conversation about the Ottawa CUPE District Council. Stay with us.
My name is Blaine Parkman, and I've been with the city. I'm in my 39th year. There's a wide range of things that we do. The type of work we do a lot of things, sprinkler systems, fire protection, hydrants. What the people would miss right now with us gone, these cabs are coming in, they're not certified. That deeply concerned us because we saw a lot of issues and the utility scrambling to get people to come in to take over that work, but it's not the same quality of work because our members are engaged with the public, they're dedicated, they take pride in their work, and we want to provide a good public service.
Local 830 is on strike for fairness and respect. For the entirety of the bargaining unit, all 30 members of this bargaining unit is less than $105,000. The city is also attacking things that have existed in their collective agreement for 60 years. So these workers are fighting for appropriate wages, and they are fighting to just keep the things that they already have.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. The members, I'll start with the members. I have 27 of the best members in the world, as far as I'm concerned. As far as the support you get from CUPE, I can't even, I'll be honest with you, when I get into this process, I couldn't even imagine that it was going to be what it was. I mean, from their staff that's here day in and day night, like, I can't say it enough. I can't believe how much support there is. And that's not even from coast to coast to coast, the support that we're getting from all CUPE members. And not just CUPE, all locals, period. So, I mean, it's powerful stuff, I'll be honest with you. And I'm going to be honest, our members are going to be here till the end.
To the city of Charlottetown, you picked the fight with the Canadian Union of Public Employees. And that means all 750,000 members from coast to coast to coast. We will not let these members starve. We will support these members till the collective agreement is found at the bargaining table. We will put every resource that's needed. We'll see you in the courts. We'll see you in the labor board. We'll see you on the streets. And we will keep fighting until we get a collective agreement that works for our members. Solidarity, my friends.
Hey, Chris.
Nick, what's going on? Whoa, hey, what's
sorry.
with the saw?
I'm here to help remove the tree.
What tree?
The big tree that fell in the house.
That's the tree that I talked about on CUPE Talk in the Maritimes?
Yeah, I called the boys, man. They're coming over to help me.
Oh,
We got you.
You have to call them and cancel that because I've already been taken care of. That was 8 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, Higgins Insurance. They already took good care of me. 8 years ago.
That's because there's a safety net for the unexpected.
Absolutely. They're there for when accidents happen. Call 506-849-7800, Pettingill Road, Quispamsis. Higgins Insurance. They got you covered.
Pretty good?
I thought so. Your roof looks good. Everything looks better.
It does.
You done good.
It's the importance of having good insurance.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something about Higgins. You know that they have they have auto insurance. You know that part. House insurance. You know
I
they
got both of those.
right. They even have life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
They have everything. That's why I'm with Higgins. They take care of everything. They really are a safety net.
I was working out the math the other day. I've been with Higgins over 20 years.
Wow,
It's a long time.
years. Well, I mean, if you had someone like Bob Keys to talk to, you know, every insurance company needs a Bob Keys. They really do. They do.
Yeah.
Because Bob is just so easy to talk to, so caring, thoughtful, always takes time to speak to everyone.
Spoke to everyone at the 5446 AGM.
Yes, you really weren't. You never lied. He really does just appear everywhere. Yeah, it's amazing. It really is. He was at the car show yesterday.
See?
Yeah, he had Jude set up. Now, Chris and I do a lot of covering when it comes to the Maritimes. We are Maritimers, and this show is CUPE Talk in the Maritimes, and it's a damn good show. But we decided we were going to do something a little different this week, and we sat down with the Ottawa CUPE District Council President, Mohammed Akbar. It was an interview that I was extremely proud to do. We had a lot in common, more than you'd think, and we had a great time talking. We could have spoke for probably 2 hours, and anyway, we sat down and we chatted for a few, and we have recorded this. It was great. He's a great guy. I recommend check it out on Facebook. Go check it out online. You can go right to the Ottawa CUPE District Council. Just a wonderful person. I was very happy with the interview. And Brian, if we could roll that, that'd be great. And when we come back, we're going to do a little bit of talking about CUPW following this. Hey guys, I'm Nick from CUPE Talk in the Maritimes, and I am here live with the president of the Ottawa CUPE District Council, Mohammed Akbar. Mohammed, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be with you today.
You know, it's funny because you were one of the first people that I ended up communicating with when I started CUPE Talk in the Maritimes. And, you know, Chris and I were just kind of branching out, you know, we're sticking with the Maritimes. Everything is great. And then I can't even remember how we ended up communicating, but you were such a, you know, pardon the pun, but you were such a cheerleader for us. And you were like offering to help, and you were showing me different things. And, you know, can you tell me a little bit about what it is that the Ottawa CUPE District Council does?
Yeah, absolutely. So district councils operate across the country, and their kind of role within each of the cities and areas that they operate is to provide support to different CUPE locals. They usually do like educationals, support campaigns. So we've been on picket lines and things like that, campaigning to support locals as much as we can. Now, district councils operate in the same way that the provincial divisions do, is there's a checkoff. So you can either join the local CUPE council, or you can be, you don't have to affiliate with the council. Obviously, the more locals that affiliate, the stronger the council ends up becoming. So in terms of the Ottawa CUPE District Council specifically, during COVID, we faced a bit of a dormancy crisis. We had executives and people involved, but the executive at the time decided not to charge dues because it's COVID, everybody's suffering, that kind of thing. After that, it took us some time to regrow and rebuild, and we're become pretty strong now as we grow into 2025 and 2026. And one of the things we're doing in terms of political action and advocacy, we're working with a pretty diverse group, a coalition around the Draw the Line Global Climate March, led by different climate organizations like 350 and Seniors for Climate and all those kinds of groups. With us, we're working with Fridays for Future Ottawa, and they're trying to lead the labor contingent. It's us, CUPE 4600, who are over at Carleton University, and a couple others, CUPE 2424 over at University of Ottawa. And we're all trying to bring the labor perspective to climate justice. The Draw the Line March is very interesting because it is, the idea was to bring as many different groups as possible. So labor, civil society, climate organizations, migrant justice organizations, and have a common set of goals. And so we're organizing on the 20th, there's going to be a global day of action. And so in Ottawa, we're leading and supporting the labor group coming into that climate march that's going to go all through downtown Ottawa.
How much fun is that for you guys? I mean, we're in a small area. You know, St. John is certainly not huge, and the province of New Brunswick, it's big, but I mean, not Ontario. And, you know, so the affiliates and everything you guys are doing, I mean, I follow it, so I see it, and it's definitely exciting. How exciting is it for you when organizing all of this great stuff and showing the public just how important the labor movement is?
You always just wish you could do more, right? So it's super exciting, but I'm always like, I wish I could do more. You know, with the labor councils, these are organizations that tend to be a lot smaller than a standard local, or like especially one of the divisions, right? So these are these are based on a lot of volunteer time rather than like you know, taking a full-time book off or anything like that. So it's quite a lot of work, and you know, national and the Ontario division provide a lot of support when you reach out. So one of the things that I always tell people, if you're getting involved in a labor council or a district council, is like really get connected with your provincial and your national movement so that you can kind of understand some of the things you can do and then go from there. It's very exciting though, and you know, the labor movement is one of the strongest movements left, you know, out of all of the advocacy and organizations and that you think of since the 90s, when there was like big upheavals. The labor movement is the bastion of like social, environmental, and economic justice, right? And so when you want a fair deal for workers, when you saw what happened with flight attendants, everybody mobilized, and that's because of the strength of workers, the workers who were flight attendants, who were raising these issues and making it a national issue. And that's really the strength of it. So it's always so exciting to support and for us, it's whenever a local reaches out to us, we do our thing when we can and work with what we can. But a district council, Ontario division, national is only as strong as the locals, right? So the more locals that connect with the district council, whether, I've worked in a bunch of different cities across Canada. And for me, if I can leave Ottawa for a second, what I think is the most important, regardless, like if you're in Saskatchewan, if you're in New Brunswick, if you're in Nova Scotia, in PI, if everybody is connected together and working in solidarity, regardless of different perspectives and things, like as long as you got that unity, you can change anything. You can move mountains, and we've been working on the shoulders of giants. If I tell you about the past presidents, I feel like a baby compared to if you look at Michael Hurley, who's one of the, I think he's the first vice president of CUPE Ontario, and he's led a lot of the health units work, like the health division in CUPE for a while now, and does a lot with OCHU. He does a lot of work with them, and and before him, like you look at the work that they do, and you're like, how are we ever going to get back there? It gets to that level, but that's just like progress. You slowly work back, and as you have someone new, you transition into it, and you keep on building it. And knowing that you can do that kind of thing helps you know that you will do it in the future.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Air Canada and how it did become a national movement. It really did, because overnight it went from, hey, it's happening, to, hey, CUPE's on board and we're not going to let this. What were your thoughts as far as maybe worried, concerned, excited? I think it really showed this is the labor movement, and it really put a stamp on what CUPE is. It is a fighting machine with over 750,000 strong across Canada. Can you speak a little on that and how quickly that escalated?
There were two things that really hit me. So number one, I have in my personal life, I have a lot of friends who are flight attendants, whether they're at Porter or WestJet or Air Canada, right? And so the personal side was hitting me where I was like, oh, like these folks who engage with politics here and there are now like really invested, pushing hard for something, right? Then you see on the ground level, then you see Mark Hancock when he tore that order up. I was in awe. I was like, there's two times I've had that moment in the labor movement, right there. And
it was bad.
Three. I gotta say three. I gotta shout out my boy, CUPE Ontario President Fred Hahn. Anytime you see him at a protest, hair raised. He blows your mind how passionate he is. Fred Hahn went from across the province when he campaigns. He goes everywhere. Everybody knows him because he's so interconnected. But yeah, Mark Hancock doing that was amazing. And the only other time I've had that was when the president of Unite here, like national, came to Toronto one time to do a protest, and he gave like the closest thing to a wrestling promo in the union protest scene that I've ever seen. That was amazing. But yeah, so that, and the reason that I also mentioned that is a lot of people talked about it. Normally not normally, but like, there is a bias against workers in the media and in society. And there's a lot of like discourse that is easy to push back when you have something like what happened with flight attendants, but in smaller, locals, it's a lot harder to push that or to mobilize at that level. So I saw a lot of people outside of the labor movement talk to me about it, saying this is huge because everybody expected, okay, government orders you back to work, you got to go back to work, right? Like that's what you think. And showing that no, a union can take as much power as they can, right? Is always inspiring. And yeah, like it's just amazing.
So I do,
right?
I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but I do, when you say about the goosebumps, I do have to say though, and this credit to her, was my first rally was the Solidarity Rally in Fredericton, New Brunswick, and it was Ashley Clark, if you know the name. She is the CUPE PEI president, and she was speaking on the legislature. And when she gave her speech, I looked over at who is our vice president of our local 380, and I said, who is that? And he said, that's Ashley Clark. And I said, look at the goosebumps on my arm. I was like literally, I went from a 5 to 100 in 3 seconds. It just, I don't know what it was, but it was at that moment where I was like, okay, you know what, man, this is where I'm supposed to be, right here, and living in the moment and realizing just how important the labor movement is.
Absolutely. The OFL president, Laura Walton, is a CUPE member, and she'll give you that same energy. It's so amazing when you see the caliber of leadership the labor movement has built over so many years, and the elected leadership, and how much they work to put the members first at the local level, at the provincial level, at the national level. Like, it's easy to get a little jaded when you start getting involved, and and I hear it a lot from folks who feel they're overworked. It's part of the work. You get invested in it, and a lot of people can get burnt out, and there's not a lot of thankfulness to go around because everybody's so busy, like, because we haven't won yet, right? Like, we're always trying to ladder up for more victories, so it's hard to sit down and just celebrate, like, wow, we actually did something, right? And there's kind of but there is a level of, you need to celebrate the victories of workers, and celebrate the people who are part of the movement, not just the leaders, but all across the board, everyone who's trying to build this.
So just because you brought that up, you need to celebrate the victories. And we just passed Labor Day. That's a hell of a time to be out. That's right. To celebrate our victories, celebrate those victories before us, and elevate everyone up to another level. How was your Labor Day? What did you do? And, what goes into a Labor Day in Ottawa?
I was out on the streets for Windsor at that time because I split my time between Windsor and Ottawa. I have a lot of family obligations in Windsor, so I work in Ottawa, and then I come back to take care of people and do the caregiving duties that you do in your 30s. So I was out. Labor Day for me, Labor Day and May Day, they're both really important to celebrate the victories of workers and things like that. And it's all about solidarity, like you see your colleagues and your comrades and all that kind of thing. And it's again, yeah, like you said, it's a time to reflect, and also, you get to hear from everybody about everything that happened locally in that year. It's interesting because I did have friends at the Ottawa march as well, and there was a bit of a protest at it happened at the Pride Parade and at the Labor Day Parade because of the mayor, right? So around Palestine solidarity and that kind of thing. And people were very critical of the mayor and his stance around Palestine and all that. So it was interesting because it was solidarity, and then it's also kind of the intersections of the labor movement, and CUPE, especially for those who aren't familiar, like CUPE is a social union. They're like, the struggle of the worker is not just specifically with the collective agreement. It's the collective agreement and all the other things that affect the worker, which, I've experienced personally, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate, where you feel there's an issue that you're dealing with, and you're like, you kind of try and work on it, and it's like, oh, well, there's nothing in the collective agreement, so you can't grieve it, you can't really do anything with it, right? So it was that kind of intersection really hit me, because I was like, yeah, like that's something that a lot of people deal with. Sometimes you're dealing with like an issue around your human rights, whether it's like an inappropriate accommodation or something that might not, for whatever reason, fall under the collective agreement, or like, the employer might be doing something in bad faith, but have done it in a way that doesn't break the letter of the law and just the spirit of it. So that was something I was reflecting on Labor Day, is that intersection, and how supporting a worker is more than, like, for me, I try and build authentic relationships with the people I represent, right? Because it's more than just like, all right, let me take your issue, let me read it over, send off a paperwork. It's actually, what's the impact to that worker, and what happened that can then support that worker into going forward. So those are my reflections on Labor Day.
You know what? I think it's great. I love it. I think Labor Day is one of my favorite days of the year. It was very successful here for us. Loved every second of it. And of course, I got to say, I know that this is a segment. I'd love to do a whole piece on you, because I find that when we're talking off air, very interesting stuff. I'd love to hear where your labor movement began, all the way up to this point. So what I do want to do though, really quick, is could you give me where did before you became the president, where were you prior to that?
So it'll be a great story. It'll be a great soundbite for you. But I struggled to get into a unionized position. I worked a lot of contracts. I worked a lot of non-unionized roles. And even some of the unionized roles I worked with were contracts. So, I'm working for 6 months at a job, and then it ends, and then I'm no longer unionized, right? So my journey in the labor movement was always very part-time roles, contract roles, and so that always was part of the activism I was doing in the labor movement, is shining a light on, okay, what are the rights of part-time workers and contract workers who are here today, gone tomorrow, might be jaded because of that, right? A lot of students have that kind of experience, right? Because they feel they're in like a situation where they're kind of just temporary and they don't matter, right? So it was through that I was briefly a part of CUPE Local 1281 as a vice president. I unionized a few workplaces, and that's how I got my actual first full-time unionized role with CUPE Local 1281. I brought in a subunit. And then I did serve about 2 years on the 2 or 3 years on the Ottawa, the CUPE Ontario Division's executive board. I was a runner-up in an election at a convention. And when they reached out to me, I had just successfully unionized another position that was contract that I was in. Lucky me. And then after that, I became part of the CUPE Ottawa District Council. And yeah, I've been here for a few years now. I started out just as a delegate from CUPE Local 1281. And as there were some transitions, I stepped up to become president, because the president position has, over the last like 5-6 years, it's been one person's in for a year and then they move on, and then another person comes in for a year, they move on, another person comes in for a year. So I've been here about 2 to 3 years now. I just got elected for another 2-year term just in January.
I think that's awesome. Congratulations on that too, because you are very hard at work. It is very evident to me. Our conversations, I follow you. I'm able to see what's going on with the Ottawa CUPE District Council. So Mohammed, I want to say thank you for taking the time to come on here with me tonight, talk about a few things, and I look forward to the next time.
Likewise, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I love what you're doing out here.
Thank you very much. I look forward to talking to you again.
All right, take care.
Interview. He was such a nice guy. I really enjoyed that. Again, Mohammed Akbar, the president of the Ottawa CUPE District Council, and just a really nice person. Glad that we were able to sit down, find time to talk about everything CUPE, which is what we do here. That's why it's so great.
And it's so neat to get somebody else's perspective.
Yes, it is.
Stumbling on my words, across Canada.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we always get used to the way we do things here in the Maritimes. And, when you hear somebody else's perspective about, trying to get into a union and everything like that, it just interesting.
Yes, very much so. Let's, we're going to segue into a little CUPW. Okay. Everyone knows everything going on with Canada Post. They, for some reason, do not want to, what I would consider a fair contract with CUPW. They are avoiding everything at all costs, which is disgraceful, pathetic. I could go on and on. But as we know, right off the hop, we got ourselves a little plan in place. When it comes to house flyers, we're going to pull back on that. We read that last night. We seen that.
Overtime ban's been lifted.
Yeah, yes, the overtime ban's been lifted, and we're going to. They got a new way of coming at this, and I think that this is a awesome idea, and I think that this very well may wake up Canada Post to realize that their members work their butts off every day of the week, and they come in with a smile on their face, and they work, and all they're asking for is a fair contract and try to get a deal done, while Canada Post just keeps offering them basically nothing, but they want everything taken from them, but we'll give you nothing. I got an idea. Maybe they should meet them and say, what do you want? And give them a contract they can live with and take back to their members, one that they want to take back to their members, not one forced to take back to their members. Maybe we can get a deal done and we can get this thing out of the way, because it's long overdue and it is well deserved for CUPW.
That's right. When you're forcing somebody to take something back, that's no longer negotiation. So Canada Post needs to just get back at the table and negotiate, bring something that's fair for them, bring something that's fair for the workers, and let's move on.
I couldn't agree more.
It's not a complicated process.
No, it's not. It's really not. I'm starting to think that Canada Post might know the municipal government over in PEI.
Well, employers mimic each other. But that's why it's important for people to support people that are having issues, whether it be through work stoppages, lockouts, information tickets, solidarity rallies, no matter what it is. So if CUPW has an issue, let's get out there and support them. If CUPE 830 has an issue, let's get out there and support them. The flight attendants, doesn't matter who it is, when there's an issue, the labor movement comes together and we will continue to fight.
Well, I don't want to say too much, but when the labor movement comes together, we have been known to kick a few butts. Just saying.
Shake the ground.
That's right. We'll rattle it. We're going to take a quick break because we got to get a little bit of, my favorite thing, charred oak. And it is like the best all-around gift you can give someone for every darn occasion, because the man does incredible work. I know because I've seen it. Chris once gave me an elbows up. I took it back, but that's okay. He wanted it more than me.
See an awful lot of Remoli boards coming out of there right now, let me tell you.
And let me tell you, he ain't a hard man to find either. And he will pretty much go out of his way to make sure that you're a happy customer. That right there, that is a man at work. And
right. Don't forget, Christmas time's coming up.
Yeah.
What better than a personalized gift and supporting a good local business?
Couldn't agree more. Let's go to that. When we come back, we got a brand new segment. Where did it start? Chris and I will tell you more after this.
Hey Nick, what's going on?
Just ordered one of those elbows up Canada signs.
Don't even worry about it. Here, you can have mine.
Hey, you already got one.
I did. Here.
That's cool. Thanks.
I can get another one.
No.
Hey.
Thanks.
There's a great local business right here in St. John, New Brunswick that I can get them at. Charred Oak Design. Find them on Facebook. Personalized gifts. They make just about anything.
Anything?
Absolutely. Send them an email, info@charredoak.ca, or you can give them a call, 506-343-0454. And remember, it's extremely important to support local businesses.
This is awesome. Thank you.
No problem. Enjoy.
What are you thinking?
Thinking, where did it start?
I don't know. I don't even know where it ended. Where did it start?
For me, it started on a picket line. When somebody said to me, could you be a picket captain? I said, sure. Out of my element, but I'm in. From there, the rest, as they say, was history. And that is what this whole segment is about. We have broken down between different people on where activism began. And I thought, what better way to premiere this entire segment than to have the Secretary-Treasurer, Candace Rennick, who is also up for re-election, and we would talk about her activism And we're going to play that for you guys now, and we hope you enjoy it.
Woke up one day and said, yeah, we don't have to take this anymore. Like, our voice matters. It's important. And we're going to actually start standing up for what we believe in. And so, it wasn't an easy journey. It took a lot of organizing and strategizing, but it was really about coming together with a group of mainly women who said just that. We don't have to put up with this anymore. We are doing valuable work. We are caring for our loved ones. We're providing a vital service to our community. We deserve respect on the job. We deserve to be paid for the work that we're doing. This is valuable work, and we demand to be treated appropriately. And so we, and I should also say that, we were ringing the alarm bells about the conditions in our long-term care facilities long before anyone ever heard of COVID-19. I mean, we lived through chronic understaffing and underfunding in these facilities where the quality of life for our residents was, pretty low. And we banded together and we organized and we, we just said, we're not going to take this anymore. And as a result, we won better working conditions. We won higher wages, health and safety protections, better functioning equipment that actually worked, proper PPE, and most importantly, respect on the job. And it came because people understood and found their voice and found their power when they banded together and they realized the solidarity, that solidarity actually works and it matters. And when people unite and they organize and they strategize and they stick together and they work with others, that's when we found the power to make change in the workplace. And it really was ever since then that I was inspired by, this reality that, when you work with others and recognize the power that you have in your voice and the power of the collective, that you really can make change for the better. And that's what we did. And that's where it all started for me. And it's been 30 years and we've never looked back.
Amazing. What was your very first role in the union?
Yeah, I was actually a health and safety officer. There was a couple things that led me to be the health and safety officer. One, we weren't getting proper personal protective equipment for really harsh chemicals that we were working with. And our personal support workers and registered practical nurses were being forced to use mechanical lifts that weren't working properly, and they didn't actually have two people, enough hands to do the lifts. And we stood up and said, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. We're not using those chemicals until we have proper equipment. We're not doing those lifts until we have two people, until they're working properly. And we just started standing up for ourselves. And when the employer realized that no actually meant no, and we were serious and we were united, things actually started to change in the workplace. So first a health and safety officer, and then I became a member of the bargaining committee. I was a member of the bargaining committee at 19 years old, and I was exposed to the whole bargaining process where, we won pay equity and we won some, pretty significant wage increases and better schedules, and people really felt empowered. And I think that's when the local really came together and started acting like a local, started acting like a union and really harnessing the power of our union.
Wow. And 30 years, and here we are today. You are the CUPE National Secretary Treasurer, something you are also running for re-election in just a couple of months. Actually, next month.
Yeah, about a month, 4 weeks from now. Yeah. So after I left the local, I felt like it was on solid footing, and I moved on to be the Secretary Treasurer at CUPE Ontario. And then I felt like that was on solid footing, and I moved on to be the Secretary Treasurer at CUPE National. I feel like we have a lot of work there left to do. I'm excited about the opportunities and the work that we have in front of us, but I am a strong, strong believer in these roles that we are all only temporary stewards of this work. And I do believe that it's our obligation, it's our responsibility to just leave this work at some point when we're ready better than when we found it. And that's been my goal through every level of the union that I've moved through, and certainly one that I still hold dear today.
Amazing. Where did it start? With Candace Rennick.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you making time for me.
I am Robbie Howard, president of CUPE Local 830, Charlottetown Water and Sewer Workers. We've worked through storms, holidays, hurricanes, and emergencies to keep your water safe and clean. We've been on strike for weeks. It wasn't an easy choice. We're standing up for respect and fairness, but we are being ignored. We've always been there for you, the residents, and now we are asking for your support. It's time to call City Hall. Tell them you stand with us, the workers.
Sponsored by CUPE Local 830.
Better than the way they found it. That's what I took away from that.
That's right. And you're going to hear us talk about 830 a lot. You're going to see the commercials and things like that. But, you know, we're going to promote the hell out of them. And we're going to do what we can to make sure that this gets done. But where did it start? With Candace. Great little segment. It goes to show you that no matter what level of activism, we all start out small and we work our way up into these larger type roles. But it doesn't matter what position you are in. Anybody has the opportunity to do it, and you just got to get involved and start somewhere.
That's right. You do. You have to just start somewhere. You just got to jump in. And, you know, Candace, she said it best about sound footing, you know, then move on and, you know, basically get comfortable, make sure you're comfortable, make sure you're happy and you have a good understanding of everything, and then, you know, continue on and keep going and get to that national level. I mean, you know, anyone that wants to put their mind to it, they really can accomplish anything.
That's right. And she's such a great speaker. I could listen to her speak all day.
I could too.
Yeah.
I really,
Totally.
I was so happy to talk to her and so glad that she was able to share her story. So that was the first Where Did It All Start? And this is not one that will be every 2 weeks. That segment will be once a month. And obviously we are back on September the 30th, but we'll get there shortly. Let's, the next segment, I was so proud of this. I finally got to have a conversation with Sherry Hillier, the president of Newfoundland, Labrador, as well as general vice president for CUPE National. A real sweetheart, a real kind individual.
Yeah, and all around good activist, good speaker, and
Yes.
someone I consider a good friend as well.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
You know what? I had her on the phone, and you'll notice toward the end of the video, it gets a little weird, but to no fault of, I don't think either of us. I think it was just bad internet where she was located, but she was far from being done talking. And I can honestly say me too, because we were just coasting through and the interview was great. So I please pay close attention, because what we're discussing is the headline that went out for CUPE Newfoundland and Labrador that CUPE.ca covered, which is that they have given notice to begin bargaining as their contracts are finishing up. Easy for me to say, on March 31st, 2026. So, you know, the importance of membership, morale, and more. We're going to get all this out of Sherry. And please, Chris, unless you have something else you want to add, let's roll that footage.
No, I'm excited to see the interview.
Yeah, really good interview. Hey guys, welcome to this very special segment that we have today. And we're talking with the president of CUPE Newfoundland and Labrador and the general vice president of CUPE National, Sherry Hillier. Sherry, big news on September the 2nd. You guys released your big press release about basically giving notice that you guys are ready to begin bargaining. You know, how excited are you about all this?
Well, we've been doing a lot of work. Our members have. Our contracts doesn't expire till March 31st of 2026. But here in Newfoundland and Labrador, we can actually serve notice to bargain as of September the 6th. So we actually held a bargaining conference in St. John's back in June, and our members gave us a clear mandate to serve notice September the 2nd. So that's exactly what we did. We gave notice for over 4,000 employees at one time.
I think that's amazing. I mean, my goodness, everyone needs a fair contract. And right now, with everything going up, it is so important. And workers just, they need fair contracts, you know? So heading into this for you, yeah, it may not be up till March 31st, 2026. But my goodness, you guys are going to be working around the clock to make sure these members get nothing but the best. So how important is it to you to have proper a proper presentation and make sure that you guys have everything in order and ready to roll?
So our members do the bulk of the work with our national servicing staff, of course, because we have some of the best in the country in the Atlantic Maritimes. But for us, our members gave us a strict mandate on what they wanted to see in their proposals. But another little tidbit here in Newfoundland and Labrador, we're on the eve of a provincial election because the premier, the interim premier, I should call him, is waiting to call the election. We don't know why, but we know that the election date has to be October the 14th. So people have said, like, why would you serve notice when you know that you're going into a provincial election? And I said, we serve notice. And I said, and I've even reached out to the opposition and said, we serve notice because we want to be the first on your agenda, whoever the next premier is of the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. So we're getting ahead of the game, and we're making noise even before the election starts to say that we mean business and we want it now.
Well, last time I checked, that is the name of the game. Get ahead, be ready, because you just never know. You guys have got so many members. You guys cover everything from healthcare, long-term care, housing, school boards, libraries, government house. You guys are go, go, go. So what is the overall feedback? I know that they've given, what they want, the mandate, but what is the overall general feeling amongst the locals and all the members, as far as, hey, it's down, the press release is out there. So is the excitement up? Where is the morale in all this?
The morale right now is really high, and we hope to maintain that. So we've been kind of playing around with different things that we can do for the members, and education and mobilization is very important. So obviously, with the way everything, the cost of inflation, uh, everything is just on a total high, is more and more and more, and the cost of living is going up, but members' wages are not going up. So that's a big one. Our members are just like tired of like just barely paying the bills, and in most cases, some of our members don't make enough to pay the bills. So a few things that we went ahead to do is that just this past weekend we had a bargaining, not a bargaining, sorry, a contracting out and privatization conference, and there was over 70 members in attendance. So the two things that we discussed at that conference, and it was an education slash let's talk about what's happening in communities across Newfoundland and Labrador. So contracting out and privatization is high on the list because P3s are being built. Every public building that's been built in Newfoundland and Labrador in the past 5 years has been a P3 build, and even they're continuing on. And the contracting out and privatization through that is phenomenal, and it's really hard to try to keep up with everything. The second thing that we're seeing is because our healthcare system amalgamated all under one, the Newfoundland and Labrador Health Services. So AI. So we actually brought in Chantel Flowers from National Office in Toronto, came in and did a full presentation on AI and the effects of AI, because through digital technology, we're seeing a huge uptake on using AI in healthcare, and it's actually killing jobs of our members. Stenographers right now are being hit by, looking at bumping or reclassification through AI and transcriptions. And the other thing that's happening, what happened was in that conference, our lead negotiator, Nicole Dunphy, and our acting regional director, Tom O'Leary, they both did presentations on bargaining and how to get bargaining language in your collective agreement and to protect public sector jobs. We're seeing it across the country, I'm sure, is huge, and we just like to, we got to continue on with the education and the momentum to keep our members moving.
Let's talk about contracting out and privatization. You just said you guys had a conference. I think those conferences are so important. And I often think that a lot of members throughout this country that are not, how would I say that? Maybe they're not as experienced as others, or maybe they're not as educated as others in why we have these sort of things. But how important is it that we have these conferences?
Well, it's majorly important because sometimes when we have a conference other than like outside of a convention, because of how CUPE operates and how the autonomy of CUPE works, but sometimes our locals will send members that normally don't attend and stuff because it's just a conference. But the education part that they take away from that is unbelievable how strong it is, because we have members. We have probably half of our membership at this conference may have been their first CUPE event ever. And just to listen to us talk, us talking and our presentations on what we were having, and then people in the community, because we always carry CUPE swag with us. So we will give out swag throughout. Obviously, these conferences happen in a hotel. We talk to people. We just go out on the sidewalk. We went up in the Cornerbrook area and just passed out some swag on privatization and then the dangers of P3s. So a lot of that, and we were in the city of Cornerbrook, and it really hits home for a lot of people because they're the first P3 hospital that ever opened in Newfoundland and Labrador. So the hospital in Cornerbrook, and I know I may get off the topic a little bit here, but the hospital in Cornerbrook, it was the old hospital had 250 beds in it. And it had all the amenities of laundry, food service, and everything in that hospital. But the residents of Cornerbrook Hospital was old, so they built a new hospital. But the new hospital only have 157 beds in it. Granted, they're all private rooms, but it's only 157. So the hospital is beautiful. It has all the lipstick and mascara that you would ever need in a hospital. But don't get sick when you're on the west coast of Newfoundland and Labrador, because there is no place to put you. Within, I think it was like less than 3 months of opening, that they announced that they will actually, so first thing they were going to do was take the new P3 long-term care facility, and that was all private rooms, but double up on residents in those rooms. They knew they couldn't do that because we were back and forth and protesting. So the old hospital that never really closed, so now they're opening up 45 transition beds in that old hospital. So patients that are admitted through acute care that are deemed to go either as a transition drop-off or in between. So that's 45 beds that are going to reopen. So they're redoing the old hospital to have those 45 transition beds. They never did have room enough to put a laundry department in the new hospital. So now they're going to keep the laundry in the old hospital. And then they forgot probably one of the most important things, because their managers need a place to work. They didn't have any offices in the new P3 for managers to work. So it's been a nightmare. So these are the dangers of P3s, and we're actually showing the residents in the west coast of Newfoundland and Labrador on the trickiness of P3s.
Wow.
I know.
See, and this is why it's so important.
And we're on the brink of privatization in our province. Is a dangerous slope, because back in 2020, we came out with a Dame, the government of Newfoundland and Labrador hired Dame Moya Green, the Queen of Privatization from the UK, to do a report do an analysis of our province and the public sector area. So when the report actually got released, it was like everything in it was deemed towards privatization. So all the unions came out, were fighting back against the report, and because there were things in that report that was very disheartening. So the government did back off, but then what they did was they did a health accord, a 10-year health accord, and that then after that health accord was completed, they did an education accord. CUPE was a part of both accords, but let me tell you, resigned from those before they were ever even signed off on. I would never put my name on anything of privatization. That was exactly what happened in in those accords. We're seeing it right now. It's just so many things, and the government is just taking baby steps to bring it through on privatization, contracting out of public sector jobs.
Unbelievable. What I would love to do is have you back on the show again in the future, because I'd love to follow up on it, where things go from here. Like I said, it was a great interview. It was that last 4 minutes that it got a little muffly, little crackles, but I mean the interview itself was phenomenal.
Don't worry, it's technology. Those things happen. It is what it is. But like you said, in the end, we'll have her back on and we'll discuss some more.
Oh, we will. Let's before we end this show, let's just quickly discuss September 30th. That is our next show. It is also Truth and Reconciliation Day. Chris and I will be doing a Truth and Reconciliation special here on CUPE Talk in the Maritimes. And I think it's going to be a really nice show. I really do.
Right. It's an extremely important date, and it's important for us to take that date and to recognize it. And I think by doing that here on CUPE Talk in the Maritimes, it's going to be the right thing to do.
Yep.
And I look forward to that episode.
I do too.
Yeah, I do.
So from Chris and I, and of course our producer Brian Watson, we are so thankful that you joined us here today on this episode, and we look forward to seeing you again 2 weeks from today.
See you in 2 weeks.